recording.
So
All
we're
right.
just discussing Pauline's case study.
Yep.
Um, she was in a normal school, and then she got moved to a more restrictive environment.
Yeah. Which was kind of it was interesting when I was reading this because like nowhere in it did it mention that she was getting services before or just kind of
Right.
it just kind of like started off that she started her first day at the special school with students with EBD. Okay, and then just reading through it, I mean, there were some things that that um, she went through trauma and stuff like that. But it
Hmm.
was like not her. The main thing that I got from this was that she was truant, her truancy, and that would um, be a problem. But like looking at those three questions that she had at the end,
Hmm.
um, like for the first one where it's how do you respond to someone's argument that Pauline belongs in general education classroom.
Hmm.
um, for that, I would say that like it's the least restrictive environment doesn't always mean that the general education classes are going to be the least restrictive.
Right.
Is the setting is going to make it the best for her, and obviously coming from a school with 1,500 students and going to a school with 40,
40,
that's
yeah.
quite a big difference in
Yeah.
in it.
Especially if when she's struggling with like school anxiety
Hmm.
and bullying and everything.
Yep.
I found this case very interesting because I'm at the ALC in Wasika.
Okay.
And I swear this is talking about one of my students, and they're almost like blaming Pauline for the behavior, but truly, is it Pauline's behavior or is it the bullying of other kids that are causing her to act this way?
Yeah, and like lack of management by
Yeah.
the school officials.
I mean,
Yeah.
after a while, everybody would start to act up if they don't feel safe and cared for and loved, in their
Right.
environment.
I mean, I think that's like a big thing with this case study. It's like if she was in special ed, if she had qualified for it before, um, like where's her case manager? Like,
Yeah, and the thing that's totally missing in the case study is like the amount of time that she spends. I mean, this whole module is based on like the least restrictive environment and
mhm.
the next step in the process. And it's like she just went from a regular school to EBD school essentially, and we don't have any time that she spends in the classroom, which you'd think if she obviously was in special ed, but like she wasn't given any skills on how to deal with the bullying, or like nobody approached any of the bullies.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah,
it just seems like it was kind of a chaotic school and there wasn't really much management.
Hmm. For
Yeah,
sure.
like coping skills and social skills. Where was all
Yeah.
that training at? It doesn't mention like her being involved with a counselor or a social worker at all, which I feel like that could help in this case a lot too.
And all of the adults were just like completely clueless to stuff going on in the hallways. And
Yeah, I mean that's like when the kids were blocking her from going into the bathroom. Like I was like, and
yeah.
they would walk by, they would be pretending to help her. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, as a teacher, you'd think that, oh, that doesn't make sense. Why do you need a group of people trying to help one student to the bathroom?
Right.
Exactly.
And
Right.
stuff like that. That's what kind of like it was just this case study was it was really weird because it was all just one big paragraph.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, so it was kind of hard to read.
Mhm.
but I mean, and then just the information in it was just how it went from being bullied
Yeah.
because she was tall, and
Yeah.
then and I mean, and as a special ed teacher, if you've seen your student like who comes to school and is sitting up tall in their chair and is is talking with you, and then all of a sudden she's hunched over and she's not participating, I think
Completely
that
different.
a red flag would go up with that. And I mean, as a special ed teacher, you'd want to figure out what's the matter, what's going on, and just talk to her and find out, and then hopefully she would say, so this is what's happening, and then the teacher can put a stop, try to help put a
Mhm.
stop to it.
Yeah. So that second question, it says like, if you were a teacher in a gen ed school, how would you respond to bullying of students like Pauline? And I would say my first reaction would obviously be to like have a conversation with the students and Pauline probably separately because she's clearly not comfortable around them. And then work your way up the chain depending on the bullying. Like if this,
Yeah, I mean, I would be the same way. Like, I would try to, I would obviously step in and stop the bullying,
yeah.
um, and send the person that's getting bullied away, and just talk with the people that are bullying, and then come back and talk to the person that was getting bullied, and just
Hmm.
so that you're hearing both sides of this, but you're not taking sides, and you're just hearing it. And then if
Right.
it's something that is physical, then obviously you're gonna try to work your way up through admin and stuff like that where it needs to be, and
Yeah.
get that problem handled.
And and in the school I've done right now, I've actually, like, we watched the bully documentary on Netflix, the anti-bully.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We also, I forgot what the name of the show is called, but it's a YouTube movie about a girl that is suicidal because of bullying in her school. So even like showing things like that or giving specific examples that you
Yeah.
can to maybe like hit the person like, oh my God, this is what could happen. Like, this is what I could cause.
Hmm.
And sometimes help, because you can talk to people and they can act all good and kind and great, but is it truly getting to them?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Like they don't understand, they might not understand what they're actually doing to somebody.
Yeah.
What the third question is, what would be required to make all schools small, supportive, and inviting places for students like Pauline. Sometimes I don't think it's like possible if you're in a bigger district, and there's always things that you can do within your school to like provide training to the students and teachers on bullying and harassment and how to respond. Um, but sometimes it's just so hard when you're in like, this, if you're in the cities and you're in a huge school district, a lot of those things are just
Yeah, I mean, I think the
not.
thing that would help the best I mean, would be have fully funded schools, you know,
Yeah,
be fully
funding and
funded.
money.
That way, yeah, and that way, the school is going to be able to hire more teachers. The class sizes are going to be smaller. You're going to have more. You're more capable of the one-on-one interactions with students and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Especially the from elementary to middle school. That would be huge,
Right.
so that you're building their confidence, and you're building the right work ethic, the right behaviors and stuff in a class of 18 or
Hmm.
17 or 18,
Mhm.
rather than a class with 25 to 30 students in it, and stuff like that. And I mean, that would be ideal, but ideal is in, with the asterisks.
So what if you set up like a mentor-mentee program or like a peer support?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would help.
just having somebody that you know that student could go to in time of need, or somebody that they could really trust and depend on to help them out, you know?
Yeah, at our school, we have a fifth hour, a flex hour, and we have advisory every other day. So the same students come into the classroom twice a week, and so the teachers are, you know, getting, and they're not sped students. It's all kids, and the sped students are mixed in with them.
That's nice.
So like, I mean, that's helpful. I've also been in a district that had it's kind of the same thing, like advisory, but it was once a week, and it was only for 9 through 12, and you stayed in the same advisory your whole high school career.
Well, so you really get to know everybody.
Yeah. And so, and I mean, it's, you know, that was super, it was super nice because the kids knew who everybody was. They built that relationships, and they built the relationship throughout the 4 years with the teacher. And, you know, being when they were, I know my wife was the teacher in it, and, you know, we got a lot of graduation invites, so I got free food, you know, so I mean, that's, that's a bonus.
Yeah. I remember when I was in high school, I mean, we did every morning for, I think it was like 25 minutes, you'd go to the same homeroom, and there were special ed kids, gen ed kids, everybody was mixed together in your homeroom. And that homeroom teacher would like start out by doing check-ins with each student and providing like conversations. I mean, not academic conversations, but just like conversation starters for all the students, and everybody got to know each other. And each grade we would get, I mean, a new homeroom essentially, but our whole class would stick together. And so you'd end up building relationships with quite a few students. And I mean, my school was like 400 kids, or my grade was like 400 kids, but I still feel like I got to know a lot of my classmates. And I think for special ed kids or EBD kids, and, you know, anybody, it's good to have those connections, or even just know people by their names.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, you never know when you're gonna run into somebody even after high school, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, I know you, you know, and or
Yeah. So I don't think it takes like having that extra funding, and all of the big things is awesome, but even if you're unable to get that funding, like just a simple thing like a homeroom, or you know, an advisory placement or whatever, it's easy to implement things like that to make people feel connected.
At our school here, due to COVID, we started having shorter school days, and then at the end of the day we call what's called check and connect. So the teachers are here till 3:30, but class actually gets out at 2. So from that 2 to 3:30, the kids are able to go, you know, to whatever class they need for extra help. But it really helps build relationships too. You know, you can talk to kids about what's going on outside of school, or sports, or jobs, or whatever else besides just focusing on instruction too.
Yeah, and for this population of students, that's huge. The relationships. I don't know what else we have. The case study was just kind of funny because there's not much information based on like the environments.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys again for letting me join you.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. Thanks for meeting.
Have a great weekend.